And sorry for the delay because I was on the way home just now. So yeah. Okay. Anyhow, I'm your host today. I'm Bendik. I'm a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, beta level, and of course today we are going to explore Python HTTP API for use with GitHub Codespace. So basically, you wouldn't need any Visual Studio Code today for the one that faced issues last time because you don't have a code editor, right? So right. Okay. So let me just go through a bit on what we will be touching today. So okay, so basically we are going to use GitHub Codespace, which is Visual Studio Code that is available online, so you wouldn't need to install any code editor, and it can run a server as well. So for today's workshop, we will be using this link. Let's share this across. Okay, so you guys can open this on your end, but we will work on it together later. Okay, so yeah, let me just go a glimpse of what we will explore today. So yeah, in the code that's provided on the GitHub link that I just shared, there's three things that we need to look into. So basically for us to run a server, I mean, there's an easier way to run a fast API because we are going to learn fast API today on Python. So, but in our workshop today, we are going to run it in a more server-side rendering with a UV-con. That's why we have certain Docker files and so dev container.json here. I will go into that later, and the code will be in web app, right? So yeah, I guess without further ado, think we can start because all of this will be covered later. Okay, right. So I need you guys to open this link on your end. I open this on my end as well. And what we are going to do here is, we can click on this, open in GitHub Codespace, right? And then, yeah, it will show this, but I don't think you guys will see resume. Yours might be create a new code space. So I'll just follow along by creating a new one. Is there anyone that need admin? Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, I guess this we can remain as it is. Southwich is good because it's near to us. Basically, what it means here is that this GitHub Codespace, right, is somewhat like a virtual computer. That's why you can see like where is it and so what is the core that we need. I guess 2 core is good enough. Yeah, 2 core is good enough because Fast API is pretty lightweight. Okay, so just some context. Fast API is a Python framework where you can build backend API or you can even use it for a full stack application because eventually it's just a web framework. So yeah. Okay, I guess this will take some time because what it's doing now is getting all of the codes that is available on the GitHub on that specific link and put it into your virtual computer where you can code it online, right? Okay, right. So give it some time. Anyhow, if there are any questions or you face any issue throughout the whole workshop, you can just pin in the chat, and of course you can also unmute your mic and tell me what is your issues that you are facing. Okay, as usual. Right. This might take a while. I think you guys are waiting for this as well. So let me see, is there anything that we need to cover? Yeah, there are 2 ways for you to actually run the code space, right? So one of the ways is clicking the button that is shown here. Another way is actually you can clone this or fork this to your space, then you can run a code space through here as well. Yeah. So these 2 ways, because normally, right, if you wanted to run a code space, most of the time they wouldn't have a link here, right? So you can actually run it through here. For example, if I use another repo, you can actually see it. For example, yeah. For example, this one on my local host, then I click on code space. Yeah. So this is how you can run a code space, or like in this repo itself, they actually embed it in the readme markdown file, but normally you wouldn't have it. So this is how you can open your code space. Okay, so yeah, it's done for me. Is there anyone that is still cloning the repo? For the one that just joined, you need to go to this link and click on the open in GitHub code space. So once you are done, you should see this. Okay. So at the meantime, while some of you are still waiting, I'll just explain the dev container. So this is the main file that will run our application today. Okay. We are not going to use the normal way of running Python files like py, then the Python file name, or in FastPay API, I think it's similar. Yeah. So, but in today we are going to use something called Docker. So Docker is more like a image, like virtual image that you can host. It's like it's one running a virtual space of the server, if you understand it in a more direct way. So Docker can run a server, which means that inside of this virtual computer that we clone down this whole GitHub repo, right? It's gonna run another server that can specifically run our fast API, right? So these are some of the configurations that is needed, which normally you should see like JSON file or YAML file to run all of these workflow. Yeah. So yeah, I hope everyone already have your code running on your end, as in you have cloned it. Okay. Okay. Maybe I will give you guys one more minute, 9:38, then we will look into the code. Because we will do some modifications and of course we'll run the code as well. Yeah. So it's just like how you run a local host, but in this case, your local host is online. Yeah. That's the whole idea of it. So Codespace basically give you the VS Code environment without you installing it, which is pretty useful if you wanted to just code it online and you don't have space to download VS Code, assuming, right? So this will eventually helps you on the development. And of course, if you just wanted to edit it online without cloning your code, Codespace can help with it as well, right? Okay, let's just wait one more minute, then we can continue the items. I hope you guys have the code on your end, right? So for the one that just joined, I'll just share the link again. Okay, this is where you need to open it in Codespace. So once you are there, you just open it, get out Codespace. Okay, it's already 9:38. So let's continue. So now we are going to look into how does our fast API looks like. Okay, so this is the only file that is running, and basically I explain it one by one. I think I explain it easily. So Fast API is the main framework that we are going to using to run our web API. Okay, and then all these base model union, these are more on the typing, as in maybe the type of your variables or the type of functions. You can see how it's being used here. I think it's more like a template class if you understand it. So it's pretty straightforward, the code. So it's declaring an app with the fast API, then it's running it. So this basically is finding for the /UI. /UI is the path that is going to render, where I think we can just run the code. So let me just get the comment for you guys. Yeah, I think the comment is in the GitHub instead. Okay, so this is how we are going to run it. Instead running the application, yeah, this is the comment. So it's using something called UVCon to somewhat run another server. Okay, so just run this on your GitHub code space. Your API website should be available. I just run it on my end. So what UVCon does is it will read in the .dev container file. You will see the specifications that you want on your Docker file, and also what is the server needs. And with that being said, it will run it according to whatever structures that you perform here. For example, you are saying that, hey, I want to run on port 8000, and then yeah, you need to install the requirements.txt, which is in here before running. So there are some beauty of somewhat called CI/CD process, where you can specify what is the process that needed to run. So once you run this, you should see your server is up now. Just control click or command click on Mac. So control click on Windows. So when you click this, it should show your server. Yeah, my server is up. Okay. Hope everyone is good. If you're facing any issue, you can just pin in the chat and just let me know. Right. Okay. So the code is up, and now just wanted to explore like how things are being done. And the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to change some specifications. I think this also has in the GitHub. Yeah, maybe you can explore this first. So assuming you wanted to see all of the APIs, right? This comes with the fast API. So when you go to /docs, you can actually see a swagger. Okay, so these swaggers will actually shows you like the API that is available, or the path that is available on this specific server. So you can actually play around. For example, I want to try the /root. So I execute it, I should see my page. Yeah, there are some results. Yeah, it's returning me a HTML file. So yeah, definitely this is my page. And of course, we are going to explore this /generate function as well. So just to show you how the code looks like in the /generate. So in your main.py, this is the root path, the slash, recall, right? Just now we just try it out on the slash, okay? And then the second one is the generate. So let's see what the generate does, right? It will actually give you a pseudo random token ID that you specify the length. So it's a post request, means that you are going to get something out of it by sending something into it. So this is a length of 20. So eventually, if you put like 20, it will return with 20. So just to show you that it's working. Okay, just try it out, execute. So it will show a 20, a token that is that's written in the 20 length. Yeah, this is how it looks like. So if let's say I want it to be a longer token, I can put 40, then execute, and you can see it's actually longer. Okay. So this token idea is, if you guys know like how login works, okay, when you actually log in, there will be certain like access token that is generated, right? This /generate is actually following the idea of generating the token, and in this case, you can actually specify the length. Yeah. So this is what the /generate is doing. And then now we are going to change some configurations on our server. So I need you guys to go to customize the code space. Okay. So we can change the version of your Python. Now I think it's running on 3.8 for everyone. Okay, you can check it in Docker file. Oh, it's on 3.10. So wait, is it a correct space for me to change it? Dev content, no, that's, oh, sorry, it's supposed to be here. Okay, yeah, dev container. Recall that this file is the server file because we are running it with UECon, right? So in this case, you can see now it's running on 3.8 version of Python. Let's say we want it to run on 3.9. It's pretty easy. You just need to change the 9 actually. But of course, you can also copy the code here and change it in your dev container. Once you save it, and we can clear the server. So you just need to control C on the terminal. If we clear the server, then we can run it again. And now it should run on Python 3.9 version. Although it wouldn't show like any difference, but the version of the Python is changed. Yeah, it wouldn't show any difference, but yeah. So this is some of the ways that you can actually change your version to like a server, right? So you can look into it. Docker is something like very useful, although it's not like very widely used in Malaysia's market, but a lot of companies still use it due to the fact that they are running like virtual machines and maybe they are running external virtualizations of their server. So yeah, I can look into it. Docker is something very interesting. Okay, so this is how you can change your server, and of course, let's see what is the next step that we are going to explore. Okay, we are going to add another extension that calls Black Formatter. So extension is like something that is built by others where you can use for your development. In our case, we are going to put it in our dev container.json. For now, that's an extension of Python and VS Code pipelines. This, if I'm not wrong, is the IntelliSense of Python. Means that when you're opening your Python file, you can see the colors and stuff. If I'm not wrong, but let me just have a quick check. So pipelines, yeah, fast feature-rich language support. Oh yeah, IntelliSense. Yes. It will highlight and also it will prompt you some, like when you are typing if else, it will prompt you, hey, if else you can, like for example, I hope it works here. Yeah, you can see it actually runs something out, right? Yeah, this is the IntelliSense. And this force behind is the Copilot. So we are going to explore Copilot later as well. So what I need you guys to do now is we are going to add another extension called Black Formatter. So just need to add in your dev container. I think it should work. Okay. Application startup. Let's kill the server again and we rerun. Okay. So now it will add another extension to it. Okay, to our server. All right. Of course, if you want to see like what is actually Black Formatter, right? It's actually available on the GitHub as well, so you can actually see what is this extension about. So yeah, extension part is that, and I guess the next part is we need to change our code using Copilot. Okay. So to do that, I will need you guys to request the Copilot access through here. Okay, let me just. Can we take a quick look of the slides? Yeah, sure. So the slides, right? To be honest, is all of the contents that we are going to cover today. But let me just upload it here as well if you wanted to see the items. Okay, upload this for slides for yeah. No sound. The others, can you guys hear my audio or no? Or is it only Alan? Wait, guess external. Oh, I hope you guys can see the file. Okay. And then this is the Copilot. So you just need to open this page and it should shows you here. And if it's not active, if I remember correctly, there will be a button for you to enable it. Okay. So once you enable this, the Copilot will be available on your whole GitHub account. Means that it will be available on the Codespace, and if you are logged in on your VS Code locally, it will be available there as well. All right. Okay. So Copilot, I guess that might take a few seconds for you guys to have that, and you need to install this extension. Yeah. So these are two things that you need to do. And of course, for installation, you can actually find here GitHub Copilot. Okay, just need to install here. So GitHub Copilot, as you know, Copilot, right? Copilot is a GPT model that helps you to generate text. Okay, so in this case, GitHub Copilot help you to generate code. Yeah, while you are typing. Like for example, just now when I'm typing this, right? Yeah, I can see it generated. I just need to put a tab, then it will help me write the whole thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So once you have the GitHub Copilot done and also your access on your GitHub, which is here. okay, you should be able to do something like what I did just now. Okay, so you just type some random code like a while loop or something. Then yeah, it will show up something like this, or it will show this star. Okay. So you need these two things to make a GitHub Copilot available. So normally it will make your development faster because how GitHub Copilot is being trained is referring to the codes that is available on GitHub. So with that being said, yeah, but sometimes you might make issues on the code is too old where your version is too new. So there might be some dependencies issue, but yeah, that's basically a tools that you can somewhat like a not somewhat, it's actually a Gen AI that you can use in your VS Code to do code continuation. Okay, so I hope everyone already has that, and let's try Copilot in action. Okay, so we are going to go to, okay, before we go in there, right, I want to give you guys some context on how basic web dev works. Is you need a HTML and CSS. That is basics, right? CSS is for styling, HTML is for structure, JavaScript is for behavior. But in this case, Python is our behavior, right? And also our main framework to run our whole code. So, okay. So now what the instruction asks us to do is we are going to head in our index.html, which is the page that render this one. You can actually see it like the containerized Python API inside of the code. Yeah. So this is where all the structure falls in, right? And we are going to ask Copilot to help us change some code. Okay, I need you guys to copy this. Okay, and then we are going to find for the button that calls the dots, right? Okay, under delete the following line. Okay, so let's just delete this line first. Okay, and then we trigger the star and we paste the comment. I hope this works because previously when I paste a comment inside of it, I enter, it doesn't work. So I will let it run for a while. Then yeah, you see Copilot is helping me to create a form. As you see in the instruction itself, the prompt is saying that create an interactive form with text input and button, and add an event listener to the button. Means that when the button is clicked, you wanted to do a post request to the /generate endpoint. So as we recall, right, just now when we go to the dots, right, you can actually see that's a generate path. So this is what we are going to trigger it on our root by having a form available for us. So once the code is generated, you actually need to click on accept to make that visible on your platform and save it. So once this is done, refresh here. Yep, you can see I actually have an input text and also a submit button just to check that the code is working as what we requested. It's sending a send request, and this script is basically JavaScript. Okay, so this send request will trigger the /generate that is available in our main.py. So it will trigger this path that we actually test to generate some tokens. So yeah, we can try it like see does it work. For example, I go with like 20. You send let me try. Why is it sending undefined back? Okay, response.result text input. I think there are still some things that we need to use the Gen AI to fix. Okay, let's see. Okay, data.result. Oh, I think the code that's generated is slightly different. Okay. So yeah, that always happens, right? When you are using Gen AI, it might not always solve your issue immediately. But in our case, I think the code that is different is just the JavaScript. I think so. Okay, so generate text input and the result. So what I want you guys to do is we are going to fix the JavaScript. So just copy the code that is available, that's generated by this owner of the code space, right? So we just need to change this send request. Yeah. So on click. Oh, the structure is totally different. Okay. What I want you guys to do, we remove the whole thing inside of the send request function. So you just replace it with these items. I hope it works. Let me see the click, then yeah, I think the structure is just different. Different by a lot. Event.prevent, okay. Okay. Once you paste that in, we need to remove the button.add event listener. Okay. Remove that part and remove the part that close it. So you should have this and make it into a async function. Yeah, there's a lot of errors here. Let me just try, then I paste the code to you. Okay. Refresh 20. Is it working? Doesn't seem to be working. Let's check the source. Or actually, we need to copy the whole chunk of code that is generated by the owner. Yeah, I think that's the easiest way. Okay. So let's just copy the whole chunk of code that's generated by the owner. Okay. These are some uncertainty when you are using Gen AI, right? Because Gen AI is predicting the result instead of giving you a very specific result. That's why when you're asking like calculations issue, it's predicting the numbers instead of like counting the numbers. So that is still a flaws in Gen AI for that case. But if you do your prompt engineering correctly, you can actually get the actual result. So we paste this, and now I refresh the page. We should see, yeah, this one. So let's say I put a 20, generate mistake undefined. It's weird. It's okay. We remain the code as it is. Let me see, is there any more parts that we actually need? Oh yeah. There are actually more parts. So the first version of our code that is generated by Copilot, it might work because we haven't fixed this part, right? Eventually, the Copilot, it can understand what we wanted to generate, okay, but it don't know how the body of the JSON is going to be going to respond to us, because eventually in our slash generate, when you are calling this API, it will send, let me just execute for you guys. It will send a structure of a slash token, right? A dot token, but in that case, the Gen AI doesn't know it, so it just return the data dot result, so it's showing undefined. Maybe let me just revert to the first version of my code. It should work. Yeah, I believe in Copilot. Let's see. Okay, so I changed the first version. The only thing that I need to change here is the body here. Okay, so change the body. Let's change the inner. Okay, let me see. The body is the length. Okay, let me just copy this and we change the body. Do my content has any body? Open to response tag JSON. Okay, my body is here. I'm not sure how does the code looks like on your end, because the code generated here for me is exact like it's totally different from what the code that is generated from the GitHub repo. So for my side, it's supposed to be like this. Okay, input text, and then the result is going to be dot token. So data dot token means that after it retrieves the result, I'm going to send back dot token. Wait, is it? Oh, I'm sorry. The response, I shouldn't change it. Okay. So this is more like testing your debug time, like your skill on debugs. But of course, you guys can share me like what is the code that is generated on your end. So maybe I can help you guys to fix it as well. This is part of software engineering, fixing bugs every time. So yeah, let me just get this and place this. Okay, it should work for my side. So let's say I put 20, submit. Is it working? Send request. Okay, it's going to get the dot result. The len is the input. Oh, sorry, my bad. My len is supposed to be input text. Okay. So I run this again. Try this. Just inspect and see what's the issues. Undefined, you cannot win token. Okay. So what if I get the response of token? Refresh 20. Yeah, it works for my end. So if let's say you have the code generated exactly as mine, then this is supposed to be your code. But of course, you guys might have different version of the generated code. Okay, so if you guys need help on debugging that, I can totally help on you on that. Or else you can just copy the code that's generated by this GitHub Codespace owner. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Now, with that being said, now because as we understand, for the token that like the values that we are going to pass is just numbers, right? So what the instruction says is we are going to change it into a drop down instead. So it will be a drop down of numbers. So by choosing the numbers that they want, they can actually generate the code. So what we need to do here, we just need to get this, okay? Create an input, this command, and we are going to let the Copilot help us to generate the code. So of course, we are going to remove the whole chunk of code of the input. Okay. So let's just remove this one, just the input, and I will trigger the Copilot and paste the command I want and trigger it. So with this, it should create a drop down that has the value 5, 10, 15, and 20. Okay. And obviously the code is correct, as you can see here. So just to check that our solution is there, okay, now you can see it's actually a drop down, right? So if I want to generate 15, I submit, yeah, that's my generated token. Okay. Okay. So yeah, Copilot is doing good for this time. It's not giving me something weird, right? Not like weird, but different practices, right? So yeah, it's giving me the exact same thing. Different on here only, input text. So with that being said, right, a Copilot can actually understand the context of the code that you have. Because in my case, my for is actually, my value capture is actually input text. So it actually understand that, hey, this developer has the input text value capture. So the select options must be the ID of input text as well. Okay. So that's some amazing things of Copilot. So with that being said, you actually doesn't need to like open your ChatGPT or open your Cloudy to prompt it for that use case. You can just use it within your code editor to complete your code structure. Okay, so now we are going to add a new API endpoint. Okay, the endpoint that we have for now is just a slash, which is the root here, and another endpoint is actually generate, but it only allows a post method. This, if I'm triggering like this, is a get method because I'm getting something. I'm not putting something on top of it. So yeah, that's some context of web dev. That's get, post, put, delete, right? And let's see what it's asking us to do. Okay, so we are going to add a new API endpoint. Let's create a pydantic model. Okay, so we go to our main.py, and then I guess you can do it here. Okay, on your line 16, trigger your Copilot, click on the style, paste the comments you want. So it's running. Yeah, it seems to be correct. Yeah, it seems to be correct. So it's giving me a text body with a base model. Okay. So just now, if you recall, right, when we trigger the slash generate, we actually pass in a len with the numbers. So this is actually how fast API works. You actually need to do some templates that can accept the values. Then with the template that is done, for example, this is body, right? So this body type, okay, it will be able to pass in as a somewhat like a input values. But I guess I wouldn't go into too deep on this end because it might be complicated for beginners to understand. But yeah, today we are going to explore like how we can actually build an API online without installing any VS Code, and of course explore Copilot, right? Okay. So the next thing is we are going to do another route, a slash something. Okay. So let's see what is the command that they want, right? Then we just go to the end of the code. Let's just trigger our style as well. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I accidentally. Okay. So trigger the style, paste the command, the prompt that you want. So this prompt is saying that I want to create a fast API endpoint, the slash something, that accept a post request. Post request means that we are putting something on top of it, like the slash generate, right? And then with a JSON body that has a text. So just now you recall when we trigger the generate, that's a JSON body with a len, but this time it's going to have a text and returns a checksum of the text. So I assume it's going to create a code that can calculate the length of your text that you paste into it. So let's just try it out. Okay. Let's see the code. Is it correct? Okay, it's going with a post with a slash checksum. That's a checksum function. And I think it's giving us the correct result. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a correct result. Let me just accept first. Then let me see the code that is, oh, sorry. Somehow there's a tab. Okay, it's supposed to be like this. Let me see the code that is generated by the owner. Yeah, it's somewhat similar, But for my end, it actually split the UTF-8 on top. Okay, and then it gets the hex. Somewhat similar. Yep. So in that case, they are using base 64, but in my case, the code that's generated, they are using hashlib, where it helped me to import the package as well. So that's how smart Copilot is. Okay, just to check that we have it, we just go to the dots. You should see a check sum, and let's try it out. Okay, yeah, we leave it as default. Let's see the result. Is it giving us? Yeah, it's giving us some code base 64 encoded stuff. Yep. So if you have this code, I assume you will be getting the same result as well. Okay, let's just test it out. So I just comment this part, then comment this part as well. I get this and I import the base 64. Okay, let's see, does the results show something similar? Okay, right, try out, string, execute. Yeah, it's giving something similar. It's just going with encode, then it shows the result according to that. Okay, cool. So let's see what is the next step. Oh, that's basically it. Yeah, that's basically it for the workshop today. It's a very short one actually, but if you wanted to go further, this takes a lot of time, because when I'm preparing this content, I'm trying it out and it takes a lot of time. It's a bit complex, and you need to have an Azure account, which for the previous workshop, some of you are facing issues because you doesn't have an Azure credits. But this time you can't use my API key because you are going to deploy. So what this next step says that says is you want to deploy this page. So now this page is actually running locally on your virtual computer. Okay. So now the next step is saying that you wanted to deploy it to public. For example, like you go to google.com, okay, everyone can see it, right? This is the ways that you can deploy a fast API. You can use Azure App Service. Then the service principle is most likely on how do you want to control the access, the permission of the accounts that can access to your application. And then set up GitHub Actions. This is more on CI/CD. So just for context, CI/CD is continuous integration and continuous delivery. Okay, meaning that, do you recall, like, if you guys work in any job before, like a tech job or software dev job, when you actually push your code and you merge it to the main branch, like merge it to the place where the code that is deployed are, your company most of the time they will set a CI/CD, meaning that every time the code is being merged, okay, the deployment will start all the way again. So this is what is teaching you on setting out the GitHub actions, okay? And of course, this is more context on how you can deploy everything. You need to have Azure credentials and you need to run a web app. Yeah, it's pretty much it. Okay. Actually, that seems to be the end of the workshop. Let me see, is there anything that you guys can look into? Okay, so if you want to learn more about Fast API, okay, of course, Fast API is just one of the way you can build Python. You can build web application with Python. There are many ways as well. For example, you can use Streamlit, but Streamlit normally integrates with data-related stuff. If you want to do a website on Streamlit, that's possible. And you can use Flask as well. Okay, and of course Django. Actually, many more. So Fast API is just one of it, and most of the time Fast API is being used to build like backend services because it's good at it. Yeah, it's good at it. You see, like in just a few codes, if we don't count the code that we commented and the code that is supposed to be a comment, right? So it's just like 4 lines. It will form a post request that we need, and it just few lines we can have a slash path. Okay, so obviously Fast API is not only possible for you to build a backend, because eventually for all the time when we are building it, we are going to this slash page, right? It's showing some UI. So you can see how is it being rendered here by referring to your index.html and stuff. Yeah, so that's more context about that. Okay. Before we wrap up everything, is there any questions that you guys have, or you are facing any issues on the Copilot end, like me, the code is different, right? So, or you have any questions related to Microsoft, I can try to answer. So other than that, that's basically it for the workshop. Yeah, pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Just to let you guys explore on building Python, HTTP API, online without downloading any Visual Studio Code or text editor. Right. Okay, and you can even run online. And oh, I see someone is typing. Yeah, sure.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Currently, I'm a student, sophomore. Can I ask the GitHub Copilot for the like student trial or free version for students? Can I?
Yeah, that's possible. If you are in here, you should see that that's available for you. But it's specifically for student. You can find for GitHub developer student pack, because that comes with you need to verify that you are a student. Okay, that comes with a lot of perks. Okay, let me just show you. This is some good freebies. Yes, correct. These some very good freebies. You see here, right? GitHub Codespace, yeah, you have Copilot, right? And then there's more. Because last time I used this to activate my Canvas Pro. I hope it's still there. But I can see these are the tools that comes with it. Once you verify that you are a student, in my case, I'm already logged in. But if you are not logged in, it should shows you a sign in or apply button. You just need to submit your student card or your student ID, and on GitHub, and they will verify. Once the verification is done, it will enable it for you. So many perks come with student like MongoDB certification, data camp access for 3 months, okay, and of course GitHub Pro, and you can apply a GitHub Campus Expert, GitHub Pages, okay. Although GitHub Pages is like available to all, but for student wise, because we have GitHub Pro, so we can host like our private repository code online, yeah, or else we need to like purchase a subscription. So there are many more, yeah. You can look into it. Yep. Okay. Any more questions? Or else I think we can wrap up at 10:20. I will share the recording across once this call is done. Okay, to whoever that joined the call today, I will get the email. So just in case you need the recording and you are not sure whether you are logged in on this Teams call, you can place your email on the chat. Then I will cross check later. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any more questions, or anyone is interested like to apply Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador? Yeah. Because I'm actually graduating soon. I think for now we have multiple MLSA on APU. I think so. So basically, this initiative, right, Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, just give you guys some context if you are interested to apply. Okay. So you need to go through some application. Okay. Once the application is done, if you get selected, you are somewhat a Microsoft proven ambassador for your campus. Okay. So their requirement is you can do events, you can run Imaging Cup, no, not run Imaging Cup. You can run some cup skill challenge. Of course, just to check like APU, how many MLSA. There are multiple in Malaysia. But from time to time, when people graduated, they will be removed from the portal. I will just show you guys like if you are recognized as a MLSA. Yeah, you can see there are multiple of us. Yeah, I'm here. This guy is from APU as well. I think a couple of them is from APU. Yeah. So yeah, it's open to students, and yeah, if you're interested, you can apply to it. Okay. Any more questions regarding the workshop or anything? Or else we'll close the call on 10:20 anyways. And thank you for attending. So if you are interested to learn more about Microsoft stuff, I still have a couple of events scheduled on Luma. So you can register through there and see what attracts your interest. Then you can just tune in during the event day. I actually attach all of the call links in the description. Yeah, so there's a data cleaning workshop tomorrow. And then this gentle introduction to AI is more like a Gen AI stuff with Azure, and also JavaScript portfolio is on you are building a React resume website on GitHub Codespace. So in that case, we are not going to use it on VS Code as well. Yeah, it's just something similar today, but that is portfolio workshops. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I guess it's around 10:20. If you guys doesn't have any questions, then yeah, thank you for attending. Hope you learned something out of it. Yeah. Guess it's almost typing. Okay, yeah, no worries. Right. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.